Live from WOWT,
Prompter.
First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
That breaking news this morning, 2 people are in the hospital after an early morning crash in Sarpy County. It happened near Portal Road and Hupp Drive in La Vista just after 12:30 this morning. Authorities say 2 people were hospitalized and one of the victims had potentially life-threatening injuries. No word yet on the cause of the crash. Stay with First Alert 6 as we work to learn more. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley, of course, joined by meteorologist Jarrett Lansford. All right. The word of advice is enjoy today because it is just going to be night and day from today and tomorrow.
March does this to us sometimes, doesn't it? We go from beautiful days to days where it's not beautiful. And that's a very big underplay. So let's talk about what today looks like and why you want to really take advantage of this kind of weather. A lot of sunshine out there at this point. We're at 46 degrees. There's been a little bit of a breeze out of the east to northeast so far this morning. I do expect that steps down as we get later in the day, but you'll notice that out the door that we do have that as a factor. But lots of sunshine, and as we continue through the day, we're going to make our way all the way to the mid 70s for our highs. It's actually cooler than yesterday. We got to 83 yesterday. It was so warm really out there. Today, pretty nice. We'll get more and more cloud cover as the day continues on. As we get overnight, we actually have a chance for some storms in the area. That comes in after midnight, ahead of that switch over to snow. So let's walk through how this takes place. So this afternoon, we have that increase in the cloud cover into the 70s for our temperatures. So that's pretty quiet. And as we make our way through the evening, we will continue to expand that cloud cover. Once we get past midnight, you notice that we start to get some spotty areas of rain showing up here on the model run. That's where we could get a few of these that maybe try to get some strength to them. I don't expect anything too crazy out of this, but at their ceiling, their highest potential, they could maybe put down a little bit of some hail. So don't be caught off guard between midnight and 5 a.m. if you hear some rumbles of thunder and maybe a little bit of some hail that's coming through the area. The winds will also be just generally gusty at this point, even 20 to 30 miles per hour consistently, some gusts that are getting up to 40 miles per hour overnight. And as we continue through the night, that's when we'll start to switch over to the snow that comes after that. So this is the reason for our First Alert 6 weather day that's in play for our Wednesday, is what happens after that storm risk that we see. And there's quite a lot to talk about with this. So we're gonna break down all the details of everything that happens with it.
Yeah, and so we will be under a blizzard warning, right? So kind of like the last storm we had with those whiteout conditions.
It really is. It's the fact that you're combining that new falling snow with the wind, not necessarily the amounts of snow, though that's notable too. It's the fact that you won't be able to see as that's happening. So here's how it all takes place. As I mentioned, blizzard warning from I-80 north and west includes the metro for much of the day tomorrow. And here's why. You are looking at that rain changing to snow right around the morning drive. 7 to 9 a.m. is when that takes place. And that's when things go downhill in a hurry, is once that switchover takes place, because you're still looking at plenty of wind that only increases as the morning goes on. By late in the morning and into the afternoon, we could see some gusts that touch 70 miles per hour out of the north. That's enough that we could maybe get some power issues. And of course, with that snow coming down at a pretty good clip, that's going to really cut that visibility down. So here's how the rest of that goes. So there's where we left off. And you can see that change over to snow taking place west of the metro about 4 to 5 a.m. And as we continue toward about 7, you can see the mixture of colors getting into the metro as we start that changeover process. Some of this may melt initially, but it's not going to take too long to overcome that with how heavy that snow will be starting to come down after the changeover. So things will start going downhill pretty quickly at that point. Most of the day, the temps sit right about that 32-degree mark. Well, at one point in the day hit about 35, but much of the day will just kind of be sitting right in between there. And you can see the snow continues through the middle of the day. It's a little bit lighter by the time we get to about 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and this is when we start to wind it down. And as far as how much we see, 3 to 6 inches, looking pretty likely of heavy, wet snow in the metro. We zoom this out, you can see there's a band that gets a little bit more than that, over 6 inches from Denison through Tekamah and back toward Columbus. So that's where we're really going to be looking at things being a problem. Amounts do drop off pretty quickly as you work your way off to the south on this one, but you're still going to be looking at the wind being a factor there. Once we get past our Wednesday, we'll start melting that snow for Thursday. We'll be looking at a couple chances for some showers. That does include on our Friday. Nothing that looks too impactful out of that. Just a few raindrops out of that, and much more seasonal temperatures through the weekend and on into next week. But overall, it's looking like quite the next 48 hours that we're going to be looking at in the area. Yeah. That's what you should be expecting and prepping for, is for that to take place.
Okay.
Hopefully this is the last one. Hopefully it's our last one.
Yeah.
The signs are pointing toward things warming up in the long term and being quieter. So hopefully we'll be done with this after this.
That's some positive news.
Yes.
Okay. In the meantime, we're also prepping, of course, for a commute today. How are things looking on the roads?
Well, we do have a couple crashes that we got to talk about, so let's go talk about those, and that includes as you're making your way near 132nd and Blondo. So this has been in place for about 20 minutes or so, and you've been looking at some slowdowns around here. Haven't gotten any confirmation, but had also heard that they may have had the intersection blocked off as a result of this. So you're going to want to avoid this area. You can use Maple or Dodge as your alternate routes to avoid what you're seeing there at 132nd and Blondo. Not the only crash we have, unfortunately. This is one at 17th and Center that we have had about the same time frame as when these both came in. So watch that area as another one where you could run into some issues. Some slowdowns that have been pretty consistent about 90th and Dodge, as well as near 84th and Dodge. That's just associated with the heavier traffic load that we are seeing as we start to pick things up on the roads. Aside from those areas I highlighted, we're mostly moving along pretty well. This is going to be another morning where you deal with some sun glare as you're heading eastbound. So I do expect some of those eastbound roads to flare up with some delays as we get later in the morning. But overall, we're not too bad. Watch those couple of areas that I outlined as being where you could run into some issues, and of course avoid 132nd and Blondo for the time being. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be prepping for much, much worse travel. So hopefully not traveling tomorrow with how things look.
Hopefully so. All right, Jared, thank you.
All right, in the meantime, an update to a months-long First Alert 6 investigation. A man is in custody in connection to crashes on Highway 36. Now, last December, a man swerved out of the way to avoid a TV in the road and ended up in the ravine. He told investigators another man was seemingly waiting nearby. Douglas County Sheriff now believes that 23-year-old Spencer Rademacher put the TV in the road.
And resulted in him being able to see first responders responding and him being able to respond as a helper. But worst case scenario could have resulted in someone's serious injury or death.
Anything you want to say, Spencer?
Rademacher is facing assault and criminal mischief charges.
A police cruiser and another car were involved in a crash. Thankfully, no one was hurt here. Officers are responding to reports of a stolen vehicle involved in a robbery near 26th and Leavenworth. Police say 3 people were inside the stolen car but got away. We spoke with a business owner in the area, though, who says he isn't surprised by the situation.
We can always expect a little bit of extracurricular activities taking place that they have to babysit, so to speak. But, you know, stuff happens.
If you do have any information about the car, the theft, the robbery, or the crash, you are urged to call Omaha Police.
All right, now to the safety desk with Maria Kay. Maria, you have some information for us about scoliosis.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people suffer from. Actually, estimated 7 million people in the U.S. are affected and have scoliosis, and if it is not treated, that condition can get a lot worse. So it's really important to raise awareness about this early. It can cause significant pain, even impact the function of some vital organs too. So experts say the majority of scoliosis patients do not have significant pain or discomfort in the beginning, and that is actually part of the problem. Oftentimes that mild scoliosis does not show up with symptoms. In many cases, may not require immediate treatment. But if the spinal condition gets worse and it's left untreated, experts say it can cause chronic back pain and also impact heart and lung function, as well as affect your self-esteem. And that's why that early detection through screenings is really critical.
We recommend screening in the 6th and the 8th grade because those are typically the times at which children are growing the fastest.
Say parents need to be really diligent in looking for some of the warning signs in their kids, and this can include things like uneven tops of their shoulders, maybe one of their kids' hips appearing higher than the other, or some changes in the shape of their spine too, and then being able to go to their doctor to get that addressed as soon as possible.
I'm goodness, it is serious. I knew somebody personally who had this condition
and
fixed by surgery.
Yep.
Okay, in the meantime, you have a latest on a Pew Research Center survey about teenagers.
Yeah, obviously, they're constantly changing the different demographics, but this survey is finding that girls are reporting more pressure to fit in socially and look good. And then the boys, on the other hand, they say that they feel like they should be strong and good at sports more often. Now, the majority of teens overall say that they feel pressure to get good grades. Both genders say it's really important for them to find a career they enjoy, make money, and cultivate friendships in the future. And as for those close friends, 85% of the boys in this survey said that they have someone that they can turn to for support if they do need it. That number is higher for the girls. They said 95% said that they had that supportive friend, which is obviously really important.
Friends are good. All right, Maria, thank you. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Sure hope your morning's getting off to a great start. It is a beautiful morning here in the metro. Temperatures close to 50 degrees, gearing up for a beautiful day ahead. Some sunshine, less wind, so I love the thought of that. But our reality is going to hit us in the face tomorrow. Mother Nature is going to show that she is not done with winter just yet, which is right. So we are first alerting us to blizzard-like conditions tomorrow.
Mother Nature's undefeated.
She is.
she always gets her way. And it's going to be winter, definitely. For the last full day of winter, we're going to see actually a blizzard looking likely in the area. Here's how things take place. Our temperatures will briefly hit 35 degrees as we get into the morning hours. Most of the day will be spent around 32 degrees. And that's important to note because we're going to be seeing the snow falling and it will eventually start to stick. Changing from the rain to the snow as we see that colder air move in, and that happens right around the morning commute. When you combine that round of snow that's coming down at a pretty good rate late in the morning into the afternoon with the winds that will be just really blustery. We're talking 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts pretty consistently and occasionally touching 70 miles per hour. That's the reason we have this blizzard warning that's in place right along I-80 and off to the north and to the west of the metro is where you're looking at that. A little bit less snow to the south is the reason why you have a winter weather advisory in some of those places, but that doesn't mean you get away from having impacts. It's just there's not as much snow falling and getting blown around. It's still going to be some. So as we go through today, your opportunity to prep, get any loose items that are outdoors inside so they're not getting blown around during the snow and the wind that we're seeing. take advantage of this, get a walk in, beautiful weather for it, mid-70s. Well, a little more cloud cover as the day goes on. And then as we get into the nighttime hours, that's when we'll have the cloud cover really increase and that chance for some spotty showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder overnight as well. There's the changeover that starts to make its way in. We'll see that take place in the metro right as people are hitting the road for the morning drive, and things change quickly. Right about this time tomorrow is when we'll be talking about starting to see that mixture taking place in the metro and eventually going all snow between that 7 to 9 window. And once we switch to snow, that's when things really go downhill because we'll already have the wind in place. The heavy snow still taking place through the middle of the day and lasting on into the afternoon. We'll start to wind that down as we get close to the evening commute. But even if it's not still falling during the evening drive, it's still going to be pretty rough conditions. 3 to 6 inches in the metro, a little higher totals off to the north, lesser totals to the south. Pretty quick drop off to the south as well with this one, but pretty notable amount of snow. When you combine that with the wind that we'll see, which will already be going pretty strongly overnight and only accelerates as we make our way through the morning, that's where we run into our problems. And look at this. Severe thunderstorm threshold for wind gusts is 58 miles per hour. We're talking about getting up to 70 at times. So possible power outages in play with that being the case. We'll still have gusts in that 60 to 70 mile per hour range possible out of the north through the middle of the day and into the afternoon. Evening commute, you're still looking at that being the case. We don't see those winds really calm down until we get past sunset, and overnight we eventually see those get to some much more manageable weather, manageable conditions at that point. And we'll improve on our Thursday. Get the sunshine in place, we'll start melting that snow away, and things will start to improve from there on out. But certainly a very chaotic way to end winter.
I'll say. Well, in the meantime, it looks like after tomorrow, things kind of start to calm down, which is some good news going into spring.
You know, it's weird. We don't normally line up exactly going winter and then closing the door and going to spring, but that's kind of what's looking like happens here. We warm things up. We get into Friday. A few showers will be around, but 50s for our temps. We'll hold on to seasonal temperatures through the weekend. Maybe a couple stray showers late Saturday night and early Sunday again. And similar case for Tuesday as well. But overall, you're looking at temperatures that stay pretty consistently there in the 50s and 60s. So a lot to like about how that plays out, and it's going to be a lot more pleasant at that point after what we see the next couple days. We'll really appreciate it.
Let's get through tomorrow, right?
We just got to
be done.
Yeah, just settle down, not have to deal with it, and then once it's done, we'll be on our way.
Hopefully. All right, Jared, thank you. Well, as early voting begins for the Omaha primary election, there is some talk from Nebraska lawmakers on changing the way we vote.
Yeah, Senator Rick Holcroft of Bellevue reintroduced LB 541. This would eliminate online voter registration, restrict voter registration by mail, require grounds for early voting, and require hand counting ballots. Now, Election Commissioner Brian Cruz says that mail-in ballots are safe and secure. He even spoke before the legislature against the bill.
It really was rolling us back, and it was taking some rights away from voters that we just didn't feel comfortable with.
It says voters should ignore the white noise surrounding election fraud that has permeated.
As a reminder, mail-in ballots for the Omaha primary election should all be sent out by the end of the week. Friday is the last day to register to vote. You have to go to the Election Commission office before 6 o'clock. The primary election is on April 1st. Well, Nebraska lawmakers heard testimony for a bill gun rights advocates support.
That's right. Now, they say it protects your privacy when you exercise the Second Amendment. If passed, LB 686 would prohibit state entities from keeping a list of who owns firearms. There would be exceptions, including for keeping records during a criminal investigation. The bill would also prohibit companies that process credit or debit card transactions from assigning firearms retailers merchant category codes.
The MCC categories apply to merchants. Individual products do not have a separate MCC. As such, MCCs could never be used to facilitate a gun registry and collect no specific data that could ever be associated with a particular firearm.
Opponents also believe it would put more strain on community banks.
In the meantime, UNO men's basketball has captured the hearts of college basketball fans, in part thanks to their unique tradition of beating garbage cans after their wins.
Well, former NFL head coach John Gruden is the latest joining the fray, posting his own trash can celebration. As for the Mavs, there he is there. Head coach Chris Crutchfield says he's impressed with his players' prep work ahead of their first-round matchup.
A couple players came in the meeting room this morning asking us what the game plan was. So they kind of was, curious, and they've already started watching film on their own, and they knew some of the things that St. John's was doing, which was that was good to see. Yeah. Good to see. But they're fired up. They're excited. They're looking forward to the challenge.
Well, the Mavs take on St. John's Thursday night at 8:45.
Happening today, we'll get the chance to send the Mavs off to the NCAA tournament as they head off to Providence. They'll depart Baxter at noon. The send-off will be at the arena's main entrance. Well, coming up, the best eats around the world.
Our thoughts on the list and what foods sound best when we come back. Well, a city in the United States has been made a top 10 list for the best food around the world.
Yeah, New Orleans came in at the #1 spot. The global survey was released by Time Out, and more than 18,000 people were taking part. The Louisiana city is known for its diverse culinary blend of French, Spanish, Vietnamese, African cultures. New Orleans is also the place you can get some of the best gumbo, the best jambalaya and beignets.
That's right up my alley.
Right? Bangkok, Thailand came in at #2, while Colombia was at #3. Paris surprisingly came in at #9.
Those croissants from Paris, I mean, ridiculous.
Have you been?
Oh my God.
Really?
Yes, yeah. Everything on the corner is like, just give me more.
Another one that I'm surprised we didn't mention, I don't know if it's on the top 10 list, Rome or an Italian city.
Yeah.
Maybe Venice.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I'm going to create some food right now. So.
Bye.
He's out. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
He's literally leaving. Okay.
You can see our update into today's show here on streaming or over the air.
Have a great start to your Tuesday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Thursday, or good Tuesday morning, everybody.
Cool
it
stuff.
is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Let's get an update on both weather and traffic with Jarrett Lansford.
And if you're about to head toward Dodge this morning, you should expect some delays. Eastbound travel, as you're approaching 680 all the way back past to about 144th, is already slowing down a fair bit. I haven't seen any notification of any kind of crashes in this area, but you can see the brake lights really showing up. So something's going on there right near 680 that you need to watch for and prep for some delays as you head through that stretch. Also slow in the JFK from right near I-80 northbound back to about the Gilmore Bridge area, so watch for delays there. Good news, where we had our crash 132nd and Blondo, does look like that is starting to improve. As we step out the door, pretty nice conditions. What we're seeing, a lot of sunshine, and we have temperatures that are in the 40s, so a pretty mild start to our day. There is a noticeable breeze out of the northeast at the moment, 15 miles per hour. I expect that steps down as we go through the rest of the day, and we'll be looking at a really nice day, up to the mid-70s, a little more cloud cover as the day goes on. That's out ahead of our First Alert 6 weather day, where things really go downhill. We actually have a blizzard warning for tomorrow in the metro, off to the north and off to the west, as we see that snow switchover take place about this time tomorrow in the metro, and the winds will be blowing that snow around as it falls, creating whiteout conditions. Travel going to be very difficult from about now tomorrow through the evening, so plan accordingly today.
Joe, thanks. Breaking news we're following this morning. 2 people are in the hospital after an overnight crash in Sarpy County. This happened near Portal Road and Hupp Drive in La Vista just after 12:30. No word about the cause of that crash.
Well, it is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.